Welcome to the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, where there's always another secret.
Welcome back, Sixers, to another episode of the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. This is episode 183. Today is March 10th, 2025, otherwise known as Mario Day. I am Bill, and I am joined, as always, by my respiratory co-hosts, Amy and Jordan. Welcome.
And on cue.
Right on cue.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get started, we do want to remind our listeners that the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is not a spoiler-free podcast. That means that if there is something in the Cosmere you haven't read and you're worried about hearing spoilers, you might want to go read those first, then come back and join the discussion. Tonight, we are going even deeper into our deep dive into Wind and Truth, taking a closer look at each of the major storylines. Tonight's focus will be on Shallan, Renarin, Rlain, and the surrounding crew. For those of you who listen to the podcast recordings or watch videos on YouTube, we'd like to remind you that it's possible for listeners to interact with us live via chat as we record each episode at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. We record it every other Monday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, so please join us, take an active part in the discussion. And I need to give a caveat. We've only got one episode left in that bi-weekly format, so or semi to every other week.
Didn't we look it up last time and found out both words were used?
I think that's right.
That's like the whole two-way mirror versus one-way mirror thing. You look it up and you find out both, and you're just like, they can't be both. That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's English. It happens.
Same with namesake. Like the namesake is the person who is named after them, and also the person they're named after.
Yeah,
But so for those of you who are curious, Amy and I are both sick tonight. Different kinds of sickness probably because I haven't seen Amy since Dragonsteel Nexus.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He definitely picked up what I had.
Yeah.
I don't know where
tried.
I got mine.
And
I was wiping down surfaces with alcoholic wipes and stuff, and I still failed. Well, it's hard to do it over the course of a week.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. I do. But yeah, so other than that, how are y'all doing?
Pretty good. I got a whole bunch of my house painted, which was nice because there were big sections, like we have vaulted ceilings upstairs, and we have these big white walls, and there was no way I was going to want to paint those because they're like 15, 20 feet, whatever up. And I'm like, nah. So there was somebody on our local Facebook page who's looking for work. So we hired him and his crew, and they did a great job and painted all of the white for me. And now I just have blank walls that I have to put stuff back up on, and it's intimidating. So.
No, I get that. Well, other than being sick, I've actually had a pretty good weekend because my favorite game of all time just got a remaster, and so now I'm able to have it on my PC. I've been playing it. I actually beat it today.
Oh, that's fun. What's the remember?
Actually, I didn't beat the game. My favorite game because it's they remastered the first and second game in the Suikoden series together, and I beat the first game. The second game is my favorite. So now I get to start playing my favorite.
Oh, very cool.
And it actually is important to play the first one first because you can load save data from the first game into the second one. So
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
That would have to be one of the first ones to do that.
It was an early one. It was on the PS1.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of PC games actually had done that before.
That's true.
I don't know where Mass Effect lines up in comparison, but I know it had that you could keep some of your data.
Right. That's definitely much later than any of the ones I'm talking about.
Okay, so I didn't know.
But yeah. How about y'all? Cool. Anything else exciting?
It's getting warmer, so the outdoors is calling to me, and I'm busy.
I've decided I'm going to try and go for the completionist plus achievement in Balatro, which is going to take forever.
You have a problem.
I love this game. So there's completionist, which is get gold, or there's completionist plus, which is get gold with all the various decks. Then there's completionist plus, which is get gold with all the jokers. And some of them are literally useless because their purpose is to be sold. But you have to have them to beat gold, so they just take up a slot.
Oh, sheesh.
It's true. I do have a problem.
Okay, well, the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is made possible by the support of our listeners and patrons. Remember, y'all have seriously been awesome. You've made it so that we can keep doing this, and we really appreciate it. Y'all, I've been saying it the past couple of weeks, but seriously, y'all are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You're what makes it worth doing this and for the past 7 years. So, all right, well, let's move on into our announcements. Again, happy Mario Day. Do you know why it's Mario Day?
It's March 10th.
Yep, MAR 10 Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you put mushrooms underneath your Mario tree?
No.
Oh, was I not supposed to do that?
Am I gonna have to fumigate the basement now?
Oh man.
Anyway,
speaking of, we do actually need to do that, don't we? Anyway. Not fumigate, but spray.
Right. We are about to hit our 7-year mark, as we've said, at which point we're going to be stepping away from our regular every other week schedule. I mentioned that earlier, but now I'm officially announcing for this week because it's worth noting. We're not going away entirely. We will be back occasionally for like book releases, or if one of us has an idea for an episode that we're just super excited about. We'll see. But yeah, we're going to finish out the main storyline for Wind and Truth. So tonight we have Shallan and Co. And then next episode we'll have Adolin and Co. And so we've only got the one more episode after this before the change. So definitely be here live next time if you can make it. We'd love to have you there. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, if there's no other announcements that y'all can think of, let's move on into the Cosmere Thing of the Week. Jordan, you got this one?
I do, but I just realized where I put the thing saying who this is that did it is now underneath where I'm showing the image, so someone will have to give me the name. But this was posted on the Cosmere subreddit. Someone's niece who apparently the niece is the one that introduced them to the Cosmere, made a crocheted pattern and Shallan, and given today's subject matter, I thought that appropriate.
The person who posted it is comfortable trip.
Comfortable-trip 1399.
Perfect. It's all right, like I said, on the Cosmere subreddit. It's adorable. And it looks like it would take so much time.
Mm-hmm.
I love the little detail of Shallan having a crocheted satchel under her left arm.
Oh, I think it's a book. I think she's got a book. Because it's got the white.
Maybe it's because I used the satchel image for the thumbnail. That's why I think it's a satchel.
Listen,
maybe
satchel
it's the book
mouth.
of endless pages. Odd reference, but a correct one in this circumstance.
I wasn't just throwing a name at Jordan. I was referencing How I Met Your Mother. So
he's making up insults. He's gone insane with power.
We've lost him.
But yeah.
Anyway.
So these little
really
things,
good.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Is amigurumi?
Amigurumi.
So these little crocheted figure things.
Yeah.
Oh, they have a name. I didn't realize they had a name.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Japanese word. I don't remember what it means, but yeah.
It means these little crocheted figures.
Yeah.
But no, it's really cute. You should go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't seeing this and you're listening to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, no, very, very cool. It's always fun seeing what people just make and create, just like, because you see a lot of fan art, but it comes in so many different forms.
Yeah, so apparently it means crocheted or knitted, and then stuffed doll. So it's literally
these little knitted stuffed
dolls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Okay, so moving on into Sanderson news then. This is fortunately a short one because Brandon has been on a retreat with his officers, the Dragonsteel officers. So he didn't record one last week. But before he went, Ghostblood's pre-writing was at 85%, which he said by the time he gets back, which is right now, he'll probably be at 100%. So the pre-writing for that should be done. He's aiming to have a first draft of book 1 by July or August. Unfortunately, we're still not going to get it forever because he's finishing all 3 books first. So
maybe we're getting
this book
collection.
made me more excited for it. So
I know. He posted a writing lecture on character a couple weeks ago, and he also did a shout out to Kevin J. Anderson because he's doing a Kickstarter for one of his books. Kevin J. Anderson is an author. He's written in the Star Wars expanded universe, I guess called Legends now. He's actually the first Legends book that I read because I read his Jedi Academy trilogy.
Oh, okay.
He's also apparently involved with the band Rush, which kind of surprised me. Yeah. They like work on concept albums and stuff together.
That's cool.
What an odd and interesting tidbit.
Right? But apparently he's got a Kickstarter that launches tomorrow if you're listening live, so March 11th. So check that out. I think it's for a book that he's doing, but I can't remember. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, and that's it. It's like I said, it was a short one this time. So, well, let's move on to our main discussion. And I need to rest my voice a little bit, so if one of y'all can kind of start us off.
Sure. I'll let you two tag out for a second. So we're talking about Shallan and Crew.
I may, just as a heads up, I may drop out entirely and very suddenly from time to time because the cough that comes with this thing is just nasty.
Yeah, it is. But so we're talking about Shallan and Crew. So that mostly means we're Shallan, Renarin, and Rlain. We did last time, we got to remember the fact that there was a book that happened before, with all the preview chapters, and they infiltrated the Ghostblood's base.
Yep.
Also, there was a very awkward intimacy scene.
Oh, the shower scene. Yeah, that was a
which it turned out it's like, this is just so that Brandon could lay the foundation for the end of the book.
See, and my thought is they've been married for a while now. I assume that's what's happening anyway. So
yeah, and it's, as far as romance scenes goes, that was still tame.
Oh, it's very tame.
Yeah. It's not what I've used to in Brandon's work.
It's far
less fade to black than other ones have been.
It's about as thirsty as Brandon has written.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, I forgot about the infiltration where Shallan is kind of putting all her skills that she's learned from because it was I didn't think about it at the time, but she's kind of putting together all her skills from her various parts of her life she's lived. Because she's putting together all the infiltration stuff that she's learned as a Lightweaver, but some of her skills she learned as a Ghostblood.
And stuff from Tin even before that. And then,
And all her Radiant skills.
Yeah, it's basically Veil is kind of shining from within.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the fact that she's learned, because that was a big thing for her. She's like, no, we're now working as a team. Which this technically, in this case, this makes this maybe the first Special Forces mission of Roshar.
There you go.
Because everything the Windrunners do is they don't tend to do things with a lot of stealth.
No.
They tend to go for more shock and awe.
Mm-hmm. Fall from the sky and craziness.
Claiming the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Quite boldly, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that was I'd forgotten how much fun those scenes were, and seeing how well she even was able to trick Eotil for a minute, which that's pretty good. And like, especially because it's sitting there going, oh no, I have to pretend to speak this other language. I have to
Well-
guess what she said. Oh no.
The way that whole thing happened with like, Shallan's there and Syaanat's there, and she's sort of giving her this look like, please don't give me away.
Yeah.
And
Come on,
Syaanat,
Shallan, be cool.
and
Cool,
Syaanat
don't
kind of
know.
shows that she is truly chaotic. She's not aligned really with anyone other than herself.
Yeah. Shallan is her own team.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is fair. There's a lot of scary stuff going on in Roshar.
On everywhere. But
Yeah.
no, it was, I don't know. I liked that because it then brought in, like, as soon as she sees the anti-stormlight dagger, it suddenly brings a concept of combat that we've never seen in the Cosmere before, which is like a true kryptonite factor,
Oh yeah.
where it's like, I have the thing that will end you. And if I get this in you at all,
You
You
die.
go
it's going to
boom.
be a bad time.
Well, but even still, Shallan is able to think her way around it and get stabbed by it, but still doesn't go boom because she makes sure to not suck in Stormlight.
She waits it out because
She waits
she's
it out.
got to, she's got to let it seep out of her first, and then
Yep.
'Cause
So
she-
she's figures it out how to brain her way past it. Yeah.
because she still needs to survive the stab wound, and it's just it's
Mhm.
a very touch and go situation.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
part of she hasn't lived an easy life. She's actually been prepared for this moment.
Yeah.
Whereas as we see later, when Eotil gets stabbed, her instincts take over. And it's like, well, why? Eotil lived a hard life. She did. Eotil also is new to these powers.
Yep. She is not as experienced with it, and so it's still an instinctual thing versus, I mean, I'm sure it's instinctual on a lot of levels for Shallan, but she's able to think about it a lot more about how to, and she's been thinking about how to deal with it compared to, I don't think Eotil's had to sit there and think about it. She's more thought about, okay, we have this tool, I'm going to use it on other people versus how do I defend against it?
Yeah. Well, we've actually seen her practice not sucking in Stormlight all the way back in Words of Radiance, where she realized if I suck in too much Stormlight, I won't be properly drunk for drinking this Horneater White. And so she had to train herself to not instinctively
To pace
do that.
herself, yeah.
Which that's not a natural training, but it's one of those things you look at. It's like, this is very well foreshadowed.
Yeah, and it was hinted at, and it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and there's
That's
lots of
the best.
references to her doing training with Adolin, so a lot of these different fight scenes and different things that she's able to do, it feels earned. It's not just like, well, she's a Mary Sue and she can just do all the things. It's no, she has drilled, she has practiced, she has a husband who's very, very good at these things, and he has trained her on how to do it.
And the things that she hasn't trained on, she fails at.
Yeah,
Which
so
is
she's not
okay.
just like perfect at everything. She's still not perfect. She has failures, like Bill said. Yeah, so it's
Well, because
Which
that's
honestly-
the hard part.
Well, and honestly, the failures are often what makes a story interesting. A lot of writers, they'll talk about the try-fail cycle, and it's just like, without the fail, the story gets very boring.
yeah, because it's just like, well, I did the thing, yay! I did the other thing, yay! I did. There's no real progression on things.
I mean, like I'm going through and rewatching Batman the Animated Series again, and Batman has become memed. It's like, because Batman, that's why he succeeds.
Batman.
But in Batman the Animated Series, which is phenomenal storytelling, he fails a lot. Like, a lot of the time, he's just making it by the skin of his teeth.
Mhm.
And often he'll need like Robin to pull him out of the fire or something too. It's just a good setup to have a character who is competent, but not godlike.
Perfect. Yeah, because if then they're just Superman, and even Superman, you have to give him different challenges because otherwise, he's not going to lose a fist fight.
Well, it's
Against-
even one of
Yeah.
it's even one of Brandon's laws. I can't remember. I think it's the second one. What you can't do is more interesting than what you can do.
Yeah, I think it might be the second one.
Yeah, and I think he tends to use Superman as his example.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. And I mean, you can do interesting stories with Superman, but they have to be very different because of who he is.
Well, most of his is, it's not necessarily what he can do, but what he won't do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting.
It is, yeah.
But no, I just remember the infiltration and the fact that she's cool with Ja and not, and is able to get her to not tattle.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, please. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
No, the other thing I remember, like, because it's so weird, because just seeing Shallan actually working with people and now working with her armor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shallan.
Shallan.
It's interesting. On some level, her and Adolin kind of use the reverse of each other's trick, because at the beginning of the book, Shallan has her armor go on to her enemy to lock her up. And then at the end of the book, Adolin is able to pull his armor off his enemy. Those two should be a couple.
I know.
You know, you may be onto something.
I think I am. No. But then everything goes to hell in a handbasket as soon as it's like, okay, they're clearly up to something. What are they up to? And they have to try and figure that out. And they don't figure it out quite quickly enough.
I mean, all things considered, they still that's pretty good.
Yeah, they do. No, they do a great job, but not quite quick enough.
And then it moves on to where she's trying to, keep Dalinar and Navani safe and all that, and that backfires. And like, I always forget that Mraize is Thalen, because it doesn't talk about him having the eyebrows, and that's how I always think of it, is the eyebrows.
That's why he does it.
Yeah. And actually, my husband Josh hadn't even caught that he was Thalen. He's like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I referenced the scene where she's warning the guards, or she's warning somebody and being like, "Okay, we got to keep an eye out for a Thalen man, a shorter Thalen man, and then like an average sized lady." Just kind of like describing them, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, he's Thalen."
See, and I just always assume because of the name.
See, I didn't even connect it, because there's still an A and an I. And
yeah, but M and R together, you don't typically have it that way.
Yeah, I guess I was not as good about thinking about the phonology or whatever, how the names are for all the different cultures, and not applying them to the characters that we know. So the details I didn't think.
Yeah, but so that's the thing that's interesting, because it's also, as they're going through, the thing that ultimately ends up being Mraize's end in this story is, and this is for Shallan, I love the appropriateness of it, is the fact that he overestimates her, which normally Shallan gets by getting people to underestimate her. But part of it is set up because I think it was when Yatil went to stab her, and she was able to do, some sort of sly flourish thing and disarm her and steal the knife.
Yeah, I think I had Josh remind me of how that fight went, and it's that he has a fully loaded anti-void light dagger still. She's used hers on Yatil, but she makes him think that she swapped and did a sleight of hand, but she didn't. So he drops his, takes hers, and then she picks up his, which is still the good one, and then uses it on him. So she gets into his head that way.
Yeah, but I can't remember how she stole it the first time, like the actual knife. Or was that in the first fight?
The person she's imitating had it, didn't they?
Yeah, I think because it was another Scadrian, Southern Scadrian.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name at all. It's gone.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
There's too many names. There's too many names to keep straight. Yeah,
it's a newish character too. So
yeah. So
the fact that she's able to do that, and Mraize makes a point to notice it. He's like, that's impressive. And it's just one of those, at the time, I don't think even Shallan knew that she was laying a foundation for something she was going to,
exploit. Yeah.
Exploit later.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, I don't know. I love little things like that in the writing.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just clever.
It's also an interesting, like, this whole confrontation and then them moving to where Dalinar and Navani are doing their thing to cross over into the spiritual realm. It's always interesting to me because you do have the two realms where you can't see from one into the other, but it's happening currently over it. And this is one of the first times where we've actually seen that kind of an interaction,
Oh, between
where there are people on one side and the other and actually interacting with each other. There's a few times we've seen it because, like, in Mistborn's Secret History, we see.
Oh yeah.
But it's still not a common thing that Brandon has really done.
Yeah, I mean, he's, like you said, in Lost Metal, he's taking the gloves off, so there's a lot more lore and intermixing and things like that are coming out.
Well, and it's a pretty niche situation.
Oh, yeah.
You could even try to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
But this one was definitely a very interesting niche situation.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the weirdness that was going on with Rlain and Renarin's Spren, and how because they have the whole thing where the Spren they're terrified all the time because they're a thing that should not be. And so they're hiding inside their radiant.
Yeah.
Well, and what they've done, technically would piss off two shards because even though Honor's got in his whole weird situation, they're doing something against Honor and against Odium.
Yep.
And so they're just like, we do not want to be seen because there are some scary people who don't like what we're doing.
Yeah, they don't fit into either culture very well, and so they're having to kind of dance that delicate line of where do we exist. Because both sides see them as kind of an abomination. So that's rough.
Which is rude.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing that's interesting about it is the fact that, like, because the whole thing is, okay, all they really know is they want Ba'ato Mishram, so we're not going to let them have it.
Yep.
And so they're constantly trying to figure out, like, they know the Ghostbloods are riding the exact same waves of Dalinar's visions that they're riding. So it's like, okay, we got to do our research and figure out where we are. But also at the same time, keep track on the surroundings and figure out where the Ghostbloods are. But don't try to stand out while you're doing it.
Yeah. It's like, do this and this and that and that and that and that all the time. And don't stand out. It's like, that's just rough to have to do that.
Oh no. Fly
and
casually.
It's so interesting because they're stalking, Mraize and, trying to find him. But at the same time, they're terrified to find him.
Yeah. I don't blame him because he's scary. And Iantel's pretty scary too.
Especially when they have daggers that make people blow up.
And it's not just the radiant, it could kill the Spren too.
Yeah, it could kill the Spren. Well, it's because, like, that's the thing. Shallan, has her armor in that first fight. And then she, as they're getting ready to shoot the anti-void light dart or whatever, she's like, I don't know how this affects my armor.
Right.
And so does she dismiss her armor temporarily or something?
She dismisses it and takes it herself.
Yeah.
Which was kind of awesome.
It's an interesting weakness to introduce because she cares about these Spren.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, their purpose is to protect her, but she's like, but I can protect them too.
I don't want them to die. It's just Especially because so many Sprent are not used to the idea of themselves dying. Like, that's just a foreign thing to them, because she had to teach Pattern, like, here's what humans do, and here's how our bodies function, and yeah, that's death, and all these other things, and Pattern just did not grasp it. I mean, he'd seen
Well,
dead eyes,
to the
but that's
to the
different.
point they exploited it in Lasting Integrity, where they had Shallan kind of lightly hit her head, and Pattern's like, "Oh no, what have you done? You have to give her Stormlight. She's dying." And the Wind
don't
Spreader
know?
or the Honor Spreader all like, "What? I didn't realize they're so delicate."
They're so fragile. What do we do? Yep.
Yeah.
There's something about conning someone with, I don't know, just that whole, "Oh no, everything's terrible."
It's like Avatar: The Last Airbender, when it's like, I'm going to defeat you, earthbending style, just the bad acting.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
there's-
alas, whatever shall I do?
I've seen so many. There's like so many times in pop culture and things like that where like a woman will be like, "Oh no, I've sprained my ankle. Oh, the man has to pick me up and carry me." And so it's not. It shouldn't be shocking that Shallan did it, but it was Pattern that helped her out with it, and it was in a different way that didn't feel as tropey as other times.
Well, especially with Patterns, just having the best time of his life. He's getting to lie.
He's so lie.
He's so confident in his abilities too, and they're just absolutely awful.
I know, but the honor spread
Luckily,
does better.
Yeah, luckily they picked up a good mark.
Yeah.
Other spread.
Other spread who really don't know. Yeah, I mean, and besides that, they don't trust cryptics anyway. That they don't know. They're just weird.
Yep.
No, but I don't know. I guess this is my second favorite Shallan book. Number one being Words of Radiance. I guess I just like seeing her constantly putting, like, this is her kind of becoming a complete I mean, not really, because obviously Radiant is still in there. But
this is a bit less of a broken Shallan. Like, and those are kind of in Words of Radiance, and this one, this is Shallan who is stepping up even in the face of adversity.
Yeah, it's where she's able to make big steps forward and progress, and you can see all the steps to get there compared to some other books where she's backsliding and having a little, like, going all over the place and freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And those are understandable situations.
And that's actually part of the plot, because it turns out Eotil's trying to portray herself as formless to get close.
Yeah, to mess her up, and she's like, not doing it.
Yeah, well, and because at first Shallan is kind of freaking out about it because they're in a strange realm. Who knows
what's going on with that,
not. And then finally she kind of is like, no, I actually am beyond this. I know this isn't formless, so who are you? And then,
choose the form of the destructor.
It's gonna be Eotil. Yep.
Well, and I like that because part of the reason it works is they shouldn't know about formless, but the reason they do is because of the Sion spy that they had with them the entire time,
which is a Ghostblood. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, and when she sort of makes that connection, it's like, wait, they know about this, but what they don't know is that I'm over this.
I've dealt with it.
I'm not insecure about this anymore.
Yep, they know Shallan from 10 chapters ago, not this Shallan, or whatever.
And that in this entire book, that's actually the thing that undoes this this cell of the Ghostbloods, is the fact that they don't know Shallan as well as they think they do.
Yep, which is usually with confident people.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is everyone else, like, Shallan's able to play off, she's kind of, this airheaded, head in the clouds artist. Mm-hmm. And so they underestimate her, whereas the Ghostbloods, they do respect her. They do fear her even. There's like, no, she's a problem, which is part of her existential crisis of, am I just going to kill everyone who's a mentor to me?
Which is rough. It's like a rough trend to live through.
Well, I mean, and that's one of the reasons that they belittle her so much, is because they are afraid of her.
Because if they let her know,
how do we remove this threat? We convince her that she's not one.
Yep. Except she's got a husband who teaches her how to stab things real good. And lots of good friends. And lots of personal growth.
Especially now that she has a shard shield.
Oh, yeah. And then she has Testament doing a lot better too, which is good. Which is going to be interesting to see her working with both Spren and seeing how that bond all works out.
10 years later.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be crazy. And I mean, I'm hopeful that she gets back to the physical realm because, oh man, it would not be cool for poor Adolin to know that his kid, if he knows. I mean, because I'm assuming that she's able to contact
He
him
will, because by the end of the book, she has a say. Yeah. And she asks the one that apparently was with Wit, but Wit advised it to get away from him.
Yeah.
Before he, got turned into a fine powder.
Could get to Adolin.
And missed.
And they and it's like, hey, can you tell them to go to Azimir? And it's like, yeah, sure. So she'll be able to get messages. It's just the only way she's going to be able to get back and forth is if Yesna can figure out proper Elts calling, because Yesna's the only Elts caller in Urithiru.
Yeah,
and Yesna's not doing well herself.
Yeah, I'm hoping that within 10 years, or even hopefully far less time than that she is able to get past her existential crisis.
Maybe that's why Brandon wants to do a gap. He's like, I don't want to have to write that.
I don't want to write Yasna putting herself back together because that's rough. Yeah,
it is rough.
It is very rough.
But no, the other thing I like is Renarin and Rlain don't really know, even though Renarin, by all accounts, is fairly experienced in terms of being a Radiant, because he doesn't have anyone else he can bounce ideas off of because he's the only one. They don't really know quite what they can do.
Yeah.
And so they're both kind of figuring it out as it goes.
Yeah, because
trial and error.
Yeah, even though there are other Truth Watchers, they're not corrupted or what, or they're not Truth Watchers.
Yeah, they don't work the same way, and so it's like,
I'm still not convinced on the Enlightened. I think that's propaganda. So
what? No, Shallan wouldn't do that to it. She wouldn't lie.
She's not. She's
solid.
She did. We watched her lie. She said she didn't know where Shallan was.
Nah, that's fine. That was okay. That was cool. That was between bros.
She's just a triple agent. It's fine.
Okay.
Who knows? Yeah. I do remember liking that Rlain had found kind of a niche in teaching them how to grow plants at Urithiru, and teaching everybody that, and then they're all like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we can do that." And so they're embracing it and not treating him weird for. I mean, I thought he said that he felt a little bit weird kind of doing it, but he's also like, but I'm being helpful. And it
felt almost like a traitorous thing because he's sharing Singer secrets with humans who are these Singer's enemies.
But he's kind of in that weird, he's even more in the weird spot than his, well, I mean, I don't know that his friend would say that it's in a weirder spot than he is, but he's kind of a uncomfortable balancing act there.
Well, I mean, the entire reason he is even with the humans is he went to spy on them.
Yeah.
And so now he's essentially joined them.
I mean, he doesn't have much of a choice.
Yeah.
Other than betraying everything these people were about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which is also not fun.
Well, and now he does, he is sort of a liaison with the rest of the Singers who left, or the listeners.
Yeah. But they don't know where they've gone, and
right.
They're trying to figure, Venli's whole crew, they have their own adventure.
Oh,
that's true.
Where they're riding on the backs of great shells. They figure out the way the kind of social dynamic of the chasm fiends, where the chasm fiends, like a lot of animals have a alpha structure where it's like, you compete with the alphas, and they finally okay, we've determined humans are the alphas. So, yeah, we can work with it as long as we're getting food. But, they have their whole structure, and it's like, okay, well, I guess we can work with this.
Yeah.
Speaking.
Yeah.
Which what? No, finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, when they show up with the few see them, they're like, so you got great shells working with you, huh?
Yeah.
Speaking of the Chasm Fiends, have either of y'all read the Chasm Friends short story?
It is so cute.
I haven't finished it. I haven't read it
actually.
Yet.
And I got.
Well, you know how it works, like with the nonsense version and the regular version.
Yeah.
So for those who aren't aware, we've talked about it a little bit. The story deck,
the story Lost Tales, yeah,
the Lost Tales that they had at Dragonsteel Nexus. One of the 3 stories is called The Chasm Friends,
and it's like My Little Pony.
It's like this little group of cheerful, happy, friendly little chasm fiends that are going along. But within the Lost Tales, some of the cards, they have a normal version, and then they also have a nonsense version.
Yeah. And
in the different stories, the nonsense versions serve in a different way. And not every card necessarily has a nonsense version, but with Chasm Friends, they all do.
Well, it's only a section of them because it's not all 54 cards. It's only like
I thought for Chasm Friends it was all 54. Is it not?
No, it's only one page of the 9 or whatever. So it's a lot shorter than I thought.
But basically, what it is it's actually the story from a human perspective, and it's much darker and more terrifying than.
Yeah, and it does not resolve in a way that you're hoping. You're like, oh dear. And then I'm pretty sure that's the one he said that there's two stories that are canon and one that's not, and I'm pretty sure this is the non-canon one. As funny as it would be from the Chasm.
I think Isaac is the one who wrote this one.
I could see that. It was super cute and fun. And just like the art is really
Isaac's
pretty.
book.
Oh man.
Oh, the Nikki Savage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that thing.
Let's see that.
Nicolas Sauvage.
Right, just like it's like your name isn't good enough for this pulp stuff. Let's twist it up a little bit.
Spice it up. Yeah. No, I did enjoy how, as much as like people have been kind of edgy about the Rlain and Renarin relationship, like there were little hints here and there, and he didn't just be like, here's the relationship right in your face. He did take his time to build it up as the story went in here, and it didn't feel as forced, which was good.
The bigger thing I liked about it was the fact you just see that they actually do like work well together. Like it's very similar to Shallan and Adolin, where they actually figure out it actually, like, I don't mean chemistry wise. I mean, like, they actually work well together. Like, they have a good working relationship.
Yeah,
you can actually build on that.
Yeah, and there's little moments where like Renarin doesn't like to be touched, and so Rlain would make sure to ask before he touched him. You know, just like those little considerations and little things matter. And so it's just kind of a nice.
Well, it's interesting how the rhythms help him sort of pick up on that.
Yeah, that he's like, it helps clarify because he is on the spectrum. That's confirmed, right? That Renarin's on the spectrum, right?
Yeah, there's something.
So yeah, and so a lot of things that I have heard around from is that they don't always pick up on what the social cues are that neurotypical people do, and so they will just assume, okay, here's the rules, and they go and follow through with those rules, even though the neurotypical people are hinting and whatever else that, no, you're supposed to do XYZ, and they're not picking up on it. And so I think having the rhythms there is a nice guidepost and a nice marker for Renarin to be like, nope, this is the mood, this is kind of what we're going with.
Yeah. It's also a little bit of a payoff because it's something that we see from Eshenai's flashback chapters where when they meet the humans and they think like, oh, there's something wrong. Like maybe this group of humans just can't, but when we get to the other ones and it's like, no, they can't hear the rhythms at all. And
tone deaf,
but
they don't.
And then when we get to Rabboniel and she's like, oh yeah, but you can't do the rhythms because you're not of Roshar, blah blah blah. And it's like, no, we are, and
We've been here for a long time.
We've been here
Well,
a long time. Yeah.
and Navani starts to show like, no, like we can, like she has some sense of these rhythms, like as she starts studying it. And it's one of these things. It's everyone sort of assumes humans just don't have rhythms.
Yeah.
Because they're saying that you don't got rhythm.
They ain't got rhythm.
They got rhyme. No, but but I mean, since humans haven't had to communicate with singers and everything else, they don't notice them until it's kind of in their face more. And so then they can notice it more.
Yeah. Well, and I just think it's especially good, thing that Brandon's pulling off here, because it'd be so easy with, the humans conquered the singers and stuff, and he could show it all only going one way. But it's like, no, like the judgment comes from both sides. Like the fused have millennia of judgments that they have pinned on the humans.
Yeah.
And he just does a good job of showing it's like, no, it's both ways. They're both making really bad judgments, of what they think they know compared to the other. And it's like, no, you don't know as much as you think you do. And they're not as limited as you think they are.
Yeah, you have to take off your prejudices and see them for what they are, not for what you assume they are, and ignore those biases that you built up.
Yep, that's how prejudice works.
Well,
so
especially
it literally means prejudge. So
yeah.
But
especially with the especially in a setting where you're at war with someone, like it's interesting because war is actually one of the things that builds up prejudices far more quickly, because literally it's a us versus them thing, and all our simian instincts take over. But
there's a propaganda that naturally kind of seems to happen with war because you want to build up your side, and so that's going to make it worse and worse and worse with all these
exactly
biases.
And so, but it's actually when it's the most critical to figure out where you're wrong and what you need to understand about them, because you're at war.
Understanding their goals and whatever else would be important. So as stepping back for a second, I remembered when I was learning Chinese, I learned a little bit of Mandarin. I took it for a year in high school. There was definitely some points where my teacher, she was a native speaker, and she's like, oh, well, here's the same sound, or these 4 different equivalents of letters. And I could not hear the difference for a while. And I know now I wouldn't be able to hear it anymore. But there was one time I was doing a test, and I kind of like tried to do all 4 of them. And then she's like, okay, good. You did it perfect. And she moved to the next person. And I was like, I have no idea if I did anything different. Like I just mimicked enough to get by. But I mean, it's the same kind of thing where it's the process of like, you have to learn, and you just have to do it over and over and over again, where, like where Renarin and Navani both were able to tune into the rhythms more. And so the same with like doing tones and different things like that, and different sounds from different languages all across our earth, and I'm sure someone who actually speaks Mandarin, because I can like do a few words, but I'm really terrible at it now, would be able to give you a lot deeper in depth into it. But there's a lot of those tonal languages. It's people who don't deal with tones just can't hear it the same way.
Yep.
You have to train your ear. So anyway.
Man, mimic enough to get by. That's just the motto of any student in a foreign language class.
It was like
fair enough.
And like, and I can't remember what the 4th one was, but like, yeah. And I'm sure I totally slaughtered it. And but I'm just like, it was like saying, because it's like a C, a Z, and then something else. We're like how we represent them in Pinyin, which is the English letters. But yeah, it was just crazy.
Have either of y'all ever heard of the game, not video game, just like a board game type thing? It's called A Fake Artist Goes to New York.
No.
I feel like my in-laws might have that.
It's a really small, simple game, but basically what happens is there's a word, and everyone but one person in the group knows the word. I don't remember exactly how they find out the word, but everybody but one person knows the word, and that one person, like nobody knows who that person is. And they take turns drawing a single line or portion of a picture of that word. And the person who doesn't know what the word is trying to draw something so that people won't realize, oh, they're the one who doesn't know it. And the people who do know what it is are trying to draw clearly enough that people realize that they do know the word, but vaguely enough that the other person can't figure out what the word is.
I have played that. Yeah, I have played that.
Love
It's
this
crazy.
Concept.
It's
But-
such a weird game. It's trippy. It's even
But it's-
weirder when you're playing with little kids. That makes it harder.
It really is nuts. But it's it's that similar concept of, blend in for as long as possible. Just, mimic enough to blend in.
Don't be
then
suspicious.
then you start to
Don't
figure it
be
out.
suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yes.
But yeah.
No,
All right. Now's probably a good time to take a break.
yeah.
Although if you had a thought,
definitely.
Jordan, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
go ahead.
Okay. So let's go ahead and we will see the rest of y'all in just a little bit.
Yep.
And we're back. Okay. So we've talked a bit about Shallan and kind of what she was doing before heading into the spiritual realm. We've talked about Renarin and Rlain and how they're working together and figuring stuff out with their whole spren and just what's going on with this Yatanat spren and that. But there's another group of people who is kind of surfing through the spiritual realm with them. And that would be Mraize and Ayatil, our antagonists.
Yes.
Which we've covered her disguising herself as formless.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting watching, because like they're going into these new areas and they're trying to find someone who hasn't set the stage. So it's not like they're in an area that they're familiar with. They're not. It's not necessarily an ambush, but they're both in this weird game of hide and seek with each other.
Yeah,
'cause-
and they're trying
they're
to
both
watch what's
it.
going on. Yeah, they're both
Mhm.
like, I don't want them to catch me, but I want to be in position to catch anything that Dalinar and Avani spill, or that whatever else, to be able to jump on it. But I don't want to be caught by them, and so it's just weird cat and mouse.
Did y'all ever play the game Assassin in college? Where it's like everybody is assigned a target.
I did not.
They're like
feel like maybe
their
once,
hand
but
or
I'm not
throw a
very good
water
at it.
balloon at them or shoot them with a dart gun or something.
Or like a water gun, or or just whatever.
And
yeah.
then if you take somebody out, then you acquire their target.
Yeah.
And it's this huge area, and it's the same kind of thing. It's just like you're the hunter and the hunted at the same time.
And you don't know who's coming. I mean, you don't know who's coming at you. And then they know their base person who's coming at them, but they don't know who they're disguising themselves as.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
let's see, is Iatil the Else color, or is that Mraize? Which one?
I think Iatil's the
I think
Elf's
Ayatil
color.
is the
Okay.
color.
I'd have to double check what Mraize is. I think that was Iatil. Well, the enlightened Elf's color.
Well, and that's
yeah,
the thing.
and
Is,
one of them, the other
that's
one was
the-
Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, and that's the only time we've, before this, the only spren we've seen, the only radiant spren that we've seen that has been enlightened are the Truth Watcher spren.
Mm.
So it's interesting
Yeah.
to see like a twisted version of.
And
the
he
other
was an enlightened Lightweaver.
Lightweaver,
That's right. I thought it was
which
light.
is fitting.
Well, it makes sense. He's been studying Shallan. I think it makes a lot of sense that he would be like, okay,
I want that.
I want her ability. Whereas Iatil would have been probably the one who was chasing Yasna the entire time.
I wonder if there's any meaning behind the fact that we've seen Truth Watchers, which share a surge with Lightweavers, and now we've seen Else Callers, which share a surge with Lightweavers. So
And with Elf's Callers. Right? Or no, never mind. Truth Watchers are the healers. Never mind.
So
Yeah,
true.
the edge
So, but
dancers.
what I'm saying is we have 3 adjacent orders. like,
Yeah,
directly adjacent.
I wonder if Jotnuts is slowly spreading out her influence in between the different spren that way. Like if it
I
might
don't
be-
know. It's just,
Well,
but it's just it's
It makes sense as far as what the Spren are, that they would be the ones more willing to to experiment in this way.
Yeah.
I just realized that would mean that Mraize has an enlightened cryptic, which would be very interesting in concept.
Yeah, we didn't ever get to see it.
Right.
'Cause it's probably not around anymore.
No, the thing I liked about one, it's just the fact that they're all looking for tells that show, okay, which person in this vision is a person who's acting as opposed to not. Wait, but I'm trying to not appear like I'm not act. Oh crap. Okay, wait. How do I? There's so much double think going on.
Fly casual.
When Mraize shows up, like, and it's like, and then they get attacked by Honor, and you're just like, Mraize is Honor. Like, that was good.
Oh, that was a great. Oh,
Hide right in the center of everything.
Yeah, that was a great little twist.
Yeah.
And I did not. That's one I didn't see coming at all.
There were so.
Oh, that one caught me by surprise as well.
Well, and I think part of that is because, these highly invested people seem more likely to actually understand what's going on. Like we see Hoyd and like he knows exactly what's going on. It's like, well, Honor kind of probably is going to be in a similar boat, but no, this is just a complete fabrication.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things. It actually makes a lot of sense to impersonate Honor when you think about it, because he's the
Honor
one
lie?
Well, and it's also he's the one who's going to be the most alien to you. So you have no tell of what a god is going to be acting like.
Yeah, anything that seems off, you would attribute to, oh, this is a shard.
He's a shard. He's been alive for how long? Yeah, I don't know. So of course he's a little bit
I liked
weird.
in the first vision, it's like, okay, we got to find out who it is. Okay, I got to act like I'm one of these people. What do these people do? Oh, they'd help these people who have this one cart that's broken. And then, like, as they're clearly trying to get her to move away because they think she's a vision, she's like, why are holy crap, we had the exact same idea. It's them. Again, it's like whenever you play hide and seek and then two people pick the same spot, you're like, ah, crap.
You can't be here. I'm here. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I loved the cat and mouse game. I also loved when they had that moment, just her and Mraize, where they're like on top of like the dead Santhid or whatever it was. And they have the heart to heart where Mraize is like, look, with the Yatil dead, I'm in charge. I'm not going to be stuck on this rock.
Mm-hmm.
and I love Shallan's counter offer to him. I thought it was a really clever idea where she's just like, hey, we're going to need representatives to go out into the Cosmere for us. Drop this. You can be our representative. You can visit the stars, Mraize. Like, and you could tell, like, for a moment, you see Mraize actually considers it. Like, this is a pretty good offer.
Well, she reverses the roles too, because he's been recruiting her this whole time.
Yeah.
And she's turning around on him.
Which it is kind of the tragedy of Mraize and Shallan's relationship, because it's never been one of warmth, but it's been it does have the respect that she's been craving her entire life. And I wonder if she didn't gain a good relationship with Dalinar and Navani the way she had, if she might have fallen prey to it. But now that she actually has people who are acting as proper parent figures in her life, she's able to
be like, no, that's not a good life choice.
Yeah. Well, because again, like, he is providing her things that she's never had before. And it's not, the thing is, it's not even a cynical thing. Like, he's doing it just to be manipulative. Like, you can tell he genuinely likes her, but he wants her to join. And it's like, now their goals are very cynical. And their attitudes are definitely cynical, but it's just one of those things that you can see, like, this isn't some act he's putting on. He genuinely is impressed by her and respects her and wants her to come along because that's going to be better for everyone. But their principles just drive them apart. And it's like, no, there isn't really one of us has to give up here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to come to blows.
Mm-hmm.
And it ultimately does. And she does the most clever thing and plays off the fact that he overestimates her.
Yep.
Especially because the thing is, there is some vanity to him. Where, I mean, this is a man who's taken... He goes to great lengths to make sure he's always well dressed and all this other stuff. And so Shallan being so clever does also make it so that there's a little bit of pride in him. It's like, look at how well I've chosen, my apprentice, as opposed to everyone else who's, she's outsmarting all you idiots. And so when she makes him think that she swapped the daggers, it's that moment of, holy crap, she's gotten so much better than I realized.
She figured out how to do that too. Oh no.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. And instead, she's relying on the fact that he's going to overestimate me and I'm better at light weaving than he is.
Yep. So I'm going to make him think that, yeah, I totally did that. Nope. We're going to switch back.
I know you know that I know that you know.
And like, that's the stuff that just makes my brain hurt. Like reading it, you're like, no, I can't. There's like 5 layers to it and I don't like it. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Sad part is that's the last time she got to use Stormlight too.
Oh.
It was anti-Stormlight.
Yeah. It's going to be weird. Like that's still trippy to me. There's not just like straight Stormlight. It's
Well, it
like
doesn't
life
exist
light
anymore.
and void light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or light.
Oof.
Well, and that's... I did some rereading at the end because I was trying to remember the order things go, and I forgot that Taravangian had a moment where he got a hold of Dalinar's soul. Like, and he had this moment of, and like he's able to hold on to him because he's an Oathbreaker, and he's like, I can torture you forever, and it's like, and like he feels this moment of, and it's like, what is my soul worth to you? What is my soul worth? Nothing. You're worthless. And Dalinar then says, and I've traded it for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's like, thus I win. And then his soul gets pulled to the beyond, and he's like, no! He got the freaking last word!
Yep.
Which, again, echoes Sadeas and his trade with Oathbringer. Because he trades it, and then Kaladin's just like, what? Those things are worth kingdoms, and it's like, and what is the worth of a man's soul? It's like, it's priceless. Then I definitely got the better of the deal.
I got the deal here because I got these souls.
Several. Yeah, I got hundreds.
And it's like, again, it's just Brandon did a good job of foreshadowing future events.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dalinar is willing to make a deal that others would undervalue.
Yeah.
The other thing I forgot because obviously at the end of the book, Shallan is trying to find ways, and I forgot she went to the Horneater Peaks.
Now, remind me, Renarin and Rlain are on in the physical realm, correct? But
yes.
Shallan is stuck. Okay,
because they like release Bottomishram, and that's how they get bopped through. Is that how that works?
I believe Shallan stayed through because she's going after Mraize.
Is that okay?
Because it's like this has got to end.
Mm-hmm. I can't leave them loose here. They're too much of a threat.
Yeah, so they're on this side, the physical realm. How I mentally think of it.
In Eurythero, correct? Inside?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because there's no play. And like, because even when she exits into the spiritual realm, just because that's where they were. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she has the problem of, she goes to the the
You mean the
Oathgate
cognitive
sprint.
realm?
Or cognitive, sorry, yeah, the cognitive realm. She goes to the Oathgate sprint. It's like, quick, let me through. It's like, we can't. What do you mean you can't? It's like, you have no stormlight. What do you mean? I got plenty of stormlight, right?
Oops.
Where's
It's
all
like,
the stormlight?
that didn't happen. What?
And then Odium tries to pull everything into him.
Yeah, but Kaladin stops that.
You have to rule everything.
That there was, and rereading that, there was something that I missed that I think is going to be a plot point. There's a moment where Taravangian takes stock of all that he has, and he's like, "Okay, I have to leave Azir alone because they earned it. I'm going to have to leave the Shattered Plains mostly alone because they." Because of the deal they did, but I don't foresee that being a problem because they're in a weird half state. I'll be able to do that. It's like the Reshi Isles. Well, I took over all the land. None of the people on the Wandering Isles submitted to me, but I don't think they're really going to be that important.
Oh,
And it was something like, I missed that the first read through.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
I
like,
didn't catch
well,
that.
and remember, Lift is Reshi.
yeah,
She is, and her book's number 6, right?
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting thought. I hadn't even really considered that.
well, it's
'Cause I mean,
I just completely glossed over it.
Yeah, because I mean, when we do see the Reshi Isles, we're seeing the Wandering Isles. We don't even see the solid ones, right? When we've
let's see.
seen it
Okay,
through
I
this-
found it. Good. Likewise, he would allow the Shattered Plains to have a kind of autonomy themselves. What of the rest? Roshar was entirely dominated. His agents in the Shin government had succeeded while the heralds were distracted. The Reshi Isles, he had the land, all of it, though those who rode the beast had largely rejected his offers. They weren't worth the effort.
Well, that's definitely going to come back.
Yeah. And I can't see them. Yeah, I can see them being very much like, no, we're independent parties. We're not gonna submit to that. Yeah,
And the Reshi King is also,
a Deathbringer.
so there's radiance among the Reshi.
Yeah, but
Now,
they
they don't have light. But who knows what else, what other wackiness is going on.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, we have a Night Watcher that is just out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what's
Who
going on
knows
with the Pure Lake?
We know that it shattered, that the things that the levees broke because there was flooding in Azir as a
Right.
result.
Mm-hmm. Forgot about that.
Okay.
There was there was kind of an offhand comment by Adolin. I'd have to go back and look through it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't remember for sure on that one.
So the water there might be lower. I don't know.
Right.
But no, so yeah, she finds her way to the Haka something or other. I don't know. It's one of the mountain names that have way too many syllables for me to ever reliably say it correctly. But it sounds really cool when you do.
Mm.
I know it started with Haka, and it was where the cultivation's perpendicularity was,
Mm-hmm.
and they
It's gone.
it's gone because she
She left.
hightailed it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets there and she finds Feld, and Feld
Right.
just goes white. It's like, uh-oh.
Oh no!
And it's like, I'm not here to fight. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Well,
Because I didn't want to do that.
I don't got nothing right now.
and speaking of the peaks, we've still got a book about rock coming out. A novella.
Yeah, because we got to figure out what's going on with that.
Yeah, but he has I forgot that because she requests to use the Sion to talk to Thadakar, and she's able to do it, and Thadakar has to explain, like, look, I know you think this is a conversation, but it is hours between when you send us something and we're able to send it back, and it's the Sion's ability to slow down what we're saying for you to
Right.
even be able to understand what this is because of the
Yeah.
time dilation effects. And it's
Yeah.
like, so I can't advise. Like, that's the thing. Like, I like how Kelsey is just over here, like, just kind of like, look, like I do not recommend you trying to go off world to help, because if there's anyone you care about on your planet, by the time you get back, they'd be long gone.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you gotta stay there for now.
Yeah, you got to figure it out. And
Mhm.
it's like and she sues for peace, basically. And he's like, yeah, I can, I like, between you and me, that's fine.
Beyond that,
Her Yatil's brother's probably going to try and split off from me. So
Now, remind me, in the Lost Metal, at one point, does Kelsier mention, like he talks about Roshar at one point,
yeah,
and does he mention like a crazy woman or something
no,
running
he
around?
does. Well, it's not him that says it. It's Twin Soul. Twin Soul has the thought of, his sister. I can't remember the
Okay.
name of the
Right.
the Southern
Yeah.
Scadrian that's on with them, which he's
'cause it's not
actually
codenamed, there's- yeah. I'm
yeah,
trying to
and
remember
it's
what
he
his
says
is.
his sister is running amok on Roshar,
Okay.
which we find out from Kelsier here. He hasn't told her brother yet.
Which I don't
Right.
blame him. I mean, he's kind of just I want to bide my time until I have to deal
Okay.
with
Well,
that.
and it's one of those things when Marasi says, "It's like, what about you? Are you keeping secrets, from your people?" And Kelsier sort of just smiles. And back then, we just thought, well, of course, he's Kelsier's keeping
He's gonna
secrets.
keep secrets.
And then once we know that, it's like, oh, he was thinking of a specific one.
He's going, yeah, there's a big
Oh,
one
that's a lot
gonna blow up."
spicier than what I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's fun-
I couldn't remember if he had specifically said who or if he just said that woman. Because
I think it was his sister.
okay, cool.
Sister.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if he had said that woman, he was talking about Shallan, not.
So
Ayatil.
yeah, because I remember it being
Yeah,
a very
right.
clear inference of it's Iatil.
Mhm.
Yeah.
both
Delaval.
have this, I
That's the
think.
name of her brother. Delaval.
Oh yeah, there's the D and the V. I remember there was the weirdness with that. Yeah, that's right.
Which is close to devil. But
It's also a Thalen sounding name, which is interesting because
Thalen and
Southern Scatterin.
yeah, they have some, depending how they do their things, they kind of bounce off. But the other thing is they're not from Southern Scadrial, actually. They're from Silverlight.
Silverlight. Yeah, but they're obviously still following their traditions of their
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah, because
They
they
got
got the
the
masks. Oh, that was the other thing in the reread I had somehow missed. As Taravangian's freaking out because he suddenly realizes Dalinar's master stroke to get everyone to focus on him. He has a thought, and it's like, I've got to buy myself time. And it's like, I've got to cause chaos on Scadrial somehow.
Mm.
And so I have a feeling that he somehow maybe opened the door for autonomy to go after Scadrial or something.
Well, I feel like she was already messing with stuff.
She was, because when Wit shows up on Scadrial,
It's like
Ulam
book
tells
2
him,
or something. Yeah,
yeah, he tells autonomy's on the move.
yeah. Which to me feels like she was already doing stuff. It wasn't.
she's been planting seeds for centuries.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that you're starting to see plans within plans within plans,
Yeah.
and how everyone is starting to, plot against one another, and they're all it's gonna be 32 Xanatos pile up.
Oh man. Yeah.
But no, the fact that Kelsier's withholding that, your sister got killed. And depending upon how you phrase it, she died, 20 years ago in her frame of reference.
Yeah.
It was last month here.
It was not as long as it for me. But
That was the other thing that was interesting, is Kelsier confirmed that the time dilation was strongest at the beginning and it's slowing down, and it'll eventually move into sync. And so the time dilation is going to get less and less an issue. It's not like it's suddenly
yeah.
gonna turn off.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's true. Yeah. So that's gonna be hard to keep everything lined up with when things happen.
But it's one of those things because it happened by accident. Like Taravangian wasn't planning on doing the time dilation thing.
Yeah.
It's just as Kelsier talks about, when shards like fuse or die, weird things happen. When Harmony was created, there was all, the entire world got reshaped. When Autonomy died, it scarred several planets. And now this is doing that. Okay, don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
Can't hear
All
you,
the different
Bill.
You mean ambition?
Or Ambition, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, that
Sorry, wrong A name.
No worries.
lots of A's.
But it's just interesting because now we have the even more interesting situation where Shallan has negotiated to have the Sion come with her and be her companion now. And she knows that the Sion is a double agent for the Ghost Bloods. And the Sion knows that she knows.
So it's kind of like, well, it's mutually beneficial that I get info from you and you use me to get info, elsewhere. And
well, yeah. Look, Kelsey is my favorite character. I like that it's like, this is actually a pretty good negotiation on your part, because you having that's going to be very valuable. You'll be able to use that to negotiate your way through the cognitive realm.
Plus,
now I have eyes on you the entire time.
Yeah.
Well, plus you know that Pattern and Testament are going to find it absolutely fascinating, this whole situation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lies.
I also find it interesting that she says at the end, like the line through Testament that marks her as a Deadeye is fading. So she's doing something to repair it.
Yeah, I think even more than that, it's having Ba'at Mishram restored is doing a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, before that, it was people individually doing things. Like she had a personal connection with Testament, and as well as like Adolin had a personal relationship with Maya, and so like they were slowly fixing them up. But I feel like now that Ba'at Mishram is free, because then Deadeyes are going to be able to do a whole lot more.
Yeah, so the dam's kind of burst at this point.
Yeah.
There are so many interesting things, because like Ba'at Mishram's back. Don't know what that's gonna do.
Yeah.
The Night Watcher's just still out there somewhere.
Just doing
Cultivation is no longer based on this planet, but she's still out there. And I kind of doubt she's just going to ignore the planet she invested so much of herself into.
Yeah, but I don't know who she's going to be able to get to help her. Is the hard part, because
I was going to say, sorry, finish your thought.
And I mean, it's just so many of the shards have been like non-interventionist, but like now it's kind of a matter of everybody's eyes got turned to Odium, retribution now, and so she's going to have a much better case, I guess, for like being like, did you see what he did? And people going, ooh, yeah.
Well, but it's, you know what? Like, to criticize her a bit, she was pretty nonchalant about it too. Oh, I'm going to make these plans, and I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to manipulate it, and then I'm going to get my guy in there, and I'm going to be able to guide him in the direction I want. And it's like, no, you got cocky. You got cocky, kid.
Yeah, she got cocky about it, and it bit her.
Now she acknowledges this is a risk, but that was one heck of a risk to take.
Yeah.
Race was not very good at this.
And that's why it was able to go as long as it did without more problems. And now you have a very capable, crazy person in there.
Yeah.
Maybe the most capable. One of the scariest. Like I said, for like the first couple books, like he's the most interesting man on Roshar. Now that's not true anymore, because he left, because he's got to hide for a bit.
No, and I ended up talking randomly to Josh about like the different enemies, and stuff, and the antagonists in Wind and Truth. And I think Taravangian, as much as he bugs me, he's competent. And so I'm like, okay, I can be okay with that. And now he's a shard. So yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with. But like, I think it's contrasting him with Moash is part of why I get so frustrated with Moash, is because he feels like such a small little irritant that should be able to be dealt with by now, but he's just not going away, and I want him to be dealt with. And it's
He's the pebble stuck
contrasting
in your shoe.
Yeah, and I'm my secret hope is that Kaladin comes back as a herald and just punts him, just like, no, I'm done. Everybody's done with you. I don't know that it's going to work out that way, but that's like my dream right there.
He's the cough.
Oh,
Won't go away.
it won't go away. No, I don't want to think about him every time I cough. No, thank you.
I think he's being saved for Gavinor. I think Gavinor's gonna. I think we're getting Gavinor the revenge tour.
I could see that too. That could be satisfying too. But part of me would enjoy seeing like Kaladin and Moash be like, oh yeah, and Kaladin's like, yeah, we're not dealing with you anymore.
I've been training with Taln
for a while. I'm a herald. No. You don't get to mess with this anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
When you've over-leveled for the starting area.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, so I have one more question I want to throw out. So if the kid's a boy or a girl, what do we think Shallan names it? Because I think if it's a boy, she names it after her older brother.
Oh, Renarin would be cute. I have no idea for names. Like I would need to sit down and think and analyze like what she would name it. Plus, I feel like she would want Adolin's input in it, and she would potentially have a way to communicate with him with the Seon. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, did you guys? On a side note, did you guys see all the people theorizing that Yasna was pregnant too?
I did not. I don't see any evidence of it, but.
There were people who were so sure, and they're like, oh, they're both pregnant. And I'm like, there is one scene where Yasna like puts her hand on her stomach, but it is obviously a stressful situation, and she's like distraught. She's not doing the same kind of movement that Shallan is doing, which is like which is.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, so like I don't think Yasna's pregnant either. Because we don't need to see what happens when there's a Hoid baby running around. That's just going to be weird. Yeah.
It'd be Mistborn.
A Hoidling.
Oh my goodness.
It potentially would be a Mistborn baby.
It could be. Maybe that's the antagonist in Mistborn 3. There we go. Era 3.
Gosh.
Because I do say it's
Dang, that's actually a really cool idea.
Dang it.
Dang, that's actually really cool.
Oh, is Hoid still there though in Era 3? We don't know.
We don't know
where he goes. Yeah. Oh man. Oh.
Anyway. Amy, I think you just stumbled upon a really cool idea.
Oh man, the Hoidling Mistborn. There we go. It's a serial killer. Yay!
There's Hoidlings. An episode title. It's a serial killer. Yay!
I'm glad to provide.
We're going to get taken down.
And we're only doing one these every once in a while going forward. We'll be fine.
I was going to say, we're going to get demonetized, but we never got monetized. So
we were kind of monetized. A little bit.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, well, we should probably start wrapping up.
True.
Any final thoughts? Not the final thoughts, but anything we should talk about before we do that?
I'm happy for all the Rlain and Renarin shippers because they got what they wanted. They got it on screen. So
now Amy just has made me want this, and so if I don't get it, I'll be in. I don't know when we would potentially get Era 3 in 5-7 years.
And you're like, man, it's not Hoid's kid. What? You're holding out on me.
Amy promised me.
It was a promise.
No, I hate it when we get those unfounded expectations. All right. Well, to our listeners, we love hearing from you. Even though we are pulling back on the podcast, we are going to continue to check our email accounts. So please write in. You can ask us about the Cosmere. You can drop us your latest theories. While you're at it, we'd love to hear your feedback on how you think we've been doing over the past 7 years. You can send all your questions and suggestions to cosmerestudies@gmail.com. We would absolutely love to hear from you. Seriously, y'all are amazing. We do have our own personal projects that we work on outside of the podcast. So, Amy, why don't you let us know what you've got going on?
Okay. My Facebook is Coincidence Cosplay and Props. My Twitter is @CoincidenceCosp because my name is too long, but I never post on there. My Instagram is @coincidence_cosplay. My TikTok is @coincidencecosplay, all one word. And then my website is www.coincidencecosplay.com. I also have the TikTok channel, which is Cosmere Studies. I'm going to change it probably in the next week or two to Coincidence Cosmere.
Because it's an awesome name.
So yeah, and thank you, Bill. So that's going to be changed to that. The other, like the Instagram, the Facebook, and the Twitter for the rest of the podcast is going to stay as Cosmere Studies, but just the TikTok is going to change. So
because Amy's basically built that thing from the ground up, and it's like
so it's my other weird.
Plus, once
baby.
Bill proposed the clever name, how could we not?
But yeah. Okay, Jordan, how about you? What do you got going on?
Twitch.tv/SpliceStream is where I am currently streaming every Saturday. We just did another episode of Quizzard, and I'm going to be starting a new channel called Trivial Video Gaming. If you want to follow it over on YouTube, look it up. I need to get to 50 subscribers before I can stream on there anyway. So if you could help me out there, that'd be great. It's literally just going to be dumb, trivial video game stuff and video game show stuff. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, or you just want to help me out because you're just, really swell, do that.
Cool. And as for myself, I'll talk about another show that Jordan's got going on. It's called I Think We Overleveled. It's one that I actually take part in fairly regularly. Basically just a bunch of middle-aged nerds talking about gaming in the good old days, and sort of geeking out about stuff that we love.
This week will be our 50th episode.
Nice. Our most recent couple of episodes, a few weeks ago, we did motion controls, and apparently what that actually means, because it developed into our most serious debate.
It didn't develop; it exploded right off the bat, and I loved it.
It's because you were wrong, and
it's because of Commie-site.
And so I had
the best thing was Bill wasn't planning on being on the episode, but then he left a comment in there, and I realized, wait, I think if I just keep egging this on, I could get him to show up.
As soon as I commented, I was like, I'm probably going to end up going on because, yeah,
he knew that I knew that he knew that I knew.
And then our most recent episode from last week was glitches in games.
That was a fun one.
That was a fun one. All right. Well, for those of you who want to support the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, we would still love it if you'd let your friends know about the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, like and subscribe over on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. That way, when we do put out new episodes, you'll still get notified and know that they're coming. And if you want to toss us a good review wherever you listen to us, we'd appreciate that. Commenting in the comments section of the YouTube video, that we'd appreciate that. Just anything you can do to spread the word, build the engagement, etc. We'd love it. All right, final thoughts.
Mistborn Kalin for the win.
Shallan just totally did girl boss at the end of this book. The whole book, she was girl boss the whole time. It was great.
No, it was a very interesting. It was interesting just sort of watching these events from the multiple perspectives, because we've already talked about Dalinar and Navani, and now we're kind of talking about the people who were hiding in the background and talking about sort of what they're seeing, and this whole other story that's going on in the background. Like, Jordan, I know you've seen this on the show Community. There's an episode where Abed has his own whole storyline in the background of the scenes, if you pay attention. And it's just this whole story that just happens. And if you don't know to look for it, you could easily miss it. But it's always interesting to see, oh, there's a big plot that's happening right here that I didn't even realize was there. And Dalinar and Navani have no idea this is going on.
Yeah.
So.
They are surprised. They're very busy when they're.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're otherwise.
Everyone's dealing with a lot of stuff this book.
Yeah, it's just a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, in addition to the live episodes of the show that stream on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies every 2 weeks, well, for the next 2 weeks, on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Listeners can find videos on YouTube or audio versions of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just about any other service that carries podcasts by searching for Cosmere Studies. I'm going to need to tweak that outro before our next episode. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under the profile at Cosmere Studies. For our last episode before our break, we are going to be finishing up our deep dive into the various plots over the course of Wind and Truth. We'll be finishing up with Adolin and his crew in Aesir. So make sure to join us in chat for the live discussion on Monday, March 24th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. Until then, on behalf of Amy, Jordan, and myself, thanks for listening, and remember, there's always another secret.